This is Easy Games with Chuck. Do you like video games? Of course you do. Now, are you like me and you find yourself with precious little time to complete your video games? Do you also like to stay up to date and hear current content in one convenient place? Now I hope this next one doesn't lose you. Do you like football? And are you a Denver Broncos fan? If you answered yes to any one of those above questions, you need to give this channel a try. I'm a mid-30s Midwestern male who's been dreaming about creating and maintaining a YouTube channel that had a focus on games for quite some time. I've also wanted to talk about NFL and Denver Bronco content on YouTube as well. So if you're ready to go on an adventure, I want you to keep watching. Today we've got some content that's geared towards games. In order to keep gaming expectations at a premium, I have to talk about what my gaming preferences are. I'm primarily a PlayStation ecosystem gamer. However, I do play Nintendo first-party exclusives, Zelda, anything Mario, Kirby, and many more. My history of gaming starts in the early 90s. As a kid growing up, I did NES, playing Super Mario, Bump and Jump, and for a few of you, you might remember Fox on a Do. In the mid-90s, we upgraded to an SNES. I enjoyed Super Mario World, Marvel War of the Gems, among other classics. Then in the late 90s, me and my brothers worked for a farmer, and we were introduced to my holy grail, the PlayStation platform. It is on the OG PlayStation that I was introduced to Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, and on a fateful 1998 demo disc that I replayed until I swear the thing burnt out the disc. Metal Gear Solid. Since then I've gone on to own all the PlayStations, even the handhelds. So yes, I've been PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, God willing with 8 windows open, PlayStation 5 shortly after launch. I also had the PSP, and one of the few that had the Vita. The rest of this video is going to detail the 2021 gaming in review from Sony's standpoint. I'll look at 2021 PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now as a service. I'll give you my peripheral impressions from the first year of the PS5, games I played in 2021, as well as my favorites through those. And then I'll take a look at 2022's gaming look ahead, where I'll cover peripherals, games, and services. Here we are with the 2021 PlayStation Year in Review. I'll be using Sony's PlayStation Ultimate Review as the backdrop to give you insight on games like Kena, Returnal, Deathloop, Ratchet & Clank, It Takes Two, Resident Evil Village, and Hades. We'll celebrate newcomers right away. Returnal gave us Selene Vassos, the primary character in a third-person procedurally generated shooter. It was fantastic from a graphical standpoint, had a very good story. I personally played and enjoyed this story. Similar to it is Deathloop, a first-person procedurally generated shooter in which you must kill all your opponents before they kill you on a time limit. I did not play Deathloop. However, if it comes to PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now, I would gladly play it. One of my favorite games of all time already, and favorite of the year, Kena Bridge of Spirits. It harkens me back to that old PS2 action platforming RPG type game with collectibles and just the color and the environments that it used. It kind of just took me back in a positive nostalgia way. I think it is one of the must-plays from 2021. Also, there was It Takes Two, which has garnered a lot of positive press and has been critically acclaimed. And again, this is a title that, if coming to one of the Plus or Now platforms, I would gladly play it. 2021 saw a bevy of talent brought into PlayStation Studios. We mentioned Returnal earlier, and they were brought to us by Housemarque, who joined the PlayStation family in June. They also brought us Resogun in the past. They are based out of Helsinki. There's also Bluepoint Games. They joined in September. They brought us the likes of the Shadow of Colossus remake and Demon's Souls. There was even some rumors widely speculated on the internet in a few circles that they might be behind a Legend of Dragoon remake or remaster. I would personally love, but I don't see it likely happening. Firesprite also joined in September. They brought us the VR horror game, The Persistence. And then Studio Nixons came in July, and a lot of folks believe they are going to be pivotal in the streaming game later on. PlayStation saw a lot of returning heroes in 2021, some more recent than others. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart came, a truly awesome experience from what I've seen on the internet. This is in my backlog, but it looks to be one of those games that is going to be leveraging the PS5's most innovative features and really a hallmark and staple for that platform. Death Stranding Director's Cut came out. I actually purposely delayed playing this game on the news of the Director's Cut coming out, as I would love to experience it in its full PS5 glory. Jin Sakai made a return to the PlayStation platform. I played Ghost of Tsushima when it came out on PlayStation 4 a couple years ago, and I will welcome back a adventure back to the Director's Cut on the Iki Island expansion very shortly into the new year. I believe this was the best PS4 game released. And then thinking all the way back to January of last year, almost, an entire year ago, you had Hitman 3 released with Agent 47. This is also in the back catalog of games that I want to get to in 2022. By all accounts, it was fantastic. I won't talk too much about peripherals and accessories right now because I've got something that looks ahead in 2022. But just remember, this also saw us on the back end of 2021 release new colors for the controllers and the headset. I personally have the Cosmic Red DualSense, and I think it is one fantastic looking peripheral. We had some unforgettable villains pop up in 2021. Lady D from Resident Evil Village. She got the internet hot and bothered there for a little while. She was trending. And she was trending because of her femininity and voluptuousness. There were some parts of the internet you did not want to go down to when it came to Lady D. A strong female character. I always enjoy those in my games. Far Cry 6 had Anton Castillo, who is voiced by celebrated actor Giancarlo Esposito, who you may remember from the Breaking Bad series, a fantastic actor who lent his talents to that game. It is also in my back catalog, as is Resident Evil. I look forward to playing both. Returnal gave us Ixion. If I remember right, he was the second boss in the game. I actually had more trouble with the first boss in the game, as the first part of the game can be very, very frustrating and extremely difficult as you're learning to get through it. But once you figure it out, the bosses tend to get easier as you get better in skill, and also get better weapons. Then there's Hades from Hades. This was a procedurally generated top-down video game where you look to escape out of your dungeon. I did not play it, but again, it's one of those that if come to a free service, I would gladly play it. I'm not a big multiplayer player, but I'll cover this as well. Call of Duty Vanguard came out. For those of you that are well steeped in the Call of Duty franchise, you probably no doubt got excited for this. Back 4 Blood was released, and it is from the Left 4 Dead developers, and it is one of the few Xbox games, Left 4 Dead, that I've ever played and thoroughly enjoyed. So this was a big boon to those fans because that game has been absent for quite some time. There was also Battlefield 2042. I find myself more in line with the Battlefield games. They're just a touch more realistic to me than Call of Duty. And then this one, Riders Republic, came out of Ubisoft, and it's piggybacking off of the success of games like Steep. So there were some top picks that we'll skip over. I'm going to go through that myself. But PlayStation continued to support the indies, as they have for a long time. Disco Elysium got a final cut. And then Chicory, A Colorful Tale, looks like a top-down Zelda, which, like I told you before, I love Zelda. There was Tribes of Midgard. I heard lots of good things about this through the year. And then Fist Forged in Shadow Torch, also released in the indie scheme. 2021's PlayStation Plus offerings had a lot of people on the divided line. We'll go month by month into each game. I'll give impressions of the ones I played, as well as ones I didn't, to offer a little bit of insight. In January, we were treated with a very strong month. Greedfall, Maneater, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I've played the latter two. They're fantastic games. Concrete Genie, Control Ultimate Edition, and Destruction All-Stars released in February. Remind you, Destruction All-Stars was supposed to be a launch window title for the PS5. Farpoint, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Maquette, all released in March. Final Fantasy VII Remake got a lot of backlash because it was only for PS4, and there was no PS5 upgrade path. In April, we were given Days Gone, Oddworld Soulstorm, and Zombie Army 4, Dead War. Oddworld was another PlayStation 5 game that was supposed to be in the launch window. In May, we were treated to Battlefield 5, Stranded Deep, and Wreckfest. In June is where it starts to go a little sideways for some. We were given Operation Tango, Star Wars Squadrons, and Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. July was a Up Again month for some folks, with A Plague Tale: Innocence, which I think is a fantastic game. Underappreciated, of course. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds. August brought us Hunter's Arena Legends, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, and Tennis World Tour 2, which garnered its fair share of criticism because a lot of folks don't like sports games out there. I, for one, would welcome a chance to play Tennis World 2. I just like different games. September was deemed another redemption month with Hitman 2, Overcooked, All You Can Eat, and Predator Hunting Grounds. I've played Hitman 2. It's a very good story, an entertaining murder sandbox. You'll probably love it. In October, we were given Hell Let Loose, Mortal Kombat X, and PGA Tour 2K21. A lot of folks said that this was their breaking point in the year, as Mortal Kombat X is the base game. They wanted XL instead if they were going to get a Mortal Kombat game. And then again, with the sports sim, and it being golf, PGA Tour 2K21 was not very well received. However, I again welcome this game. It's a different title. Golf's not for everybody, but I do know the franchise that made it before 2K got a hold of it, and it was a pretty relaxing golf sim, and had a first-class golf course simulator building experience. November brought us First Class Trouble, Kingdoms of Amalur, Re-Reckoning, Knockout City, and The Persistence, as well as The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, and Until You Fall. 3 of those titles are VR exclusive games to celebrate PlayStation VR's 2-year anniversary. Let's see, December brought us Godfall Challenger Edition, LEGO DC Super Villains, and Mortal Shell. Godfall received its share of criticism because the Challenger Edition takes you straight to the end, all leveled up, and only playing the bosses. All in all, a fairly up and down year according to people. I thought it was pretty solid. I download all the games. PlayStation Now is PlayStation's gaming streaming service. It actually predates Xbox's own streaming services. It boasts over 800 video games available. You'll notice I've got some games in my list: Chess Ultra, Celeste, As Divine Hearts, Super Hot, The Long Dark, among others. I've played Blood Bowl, Metal Gear 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and yes, High Stakes on the Vegas Strip Poker Edition. You'll notice it breaks it down into family-friendly categories. It spotlights its indies. There's action titles. First-party PlayStation 4 titles like God of War, Horizon, the Complete Edition. Games in the adventure realm such as Detroit Become Human, Mafia, the Definitive Edition, Little Nightmares. If horror's your jam, there's Undertale, Friday the 13th, Bloodborne, The Last of Us Part 2. It even gives us such Japanese treasures as Nioh 1 and 2, Sonic Racing, the Metal Gears. PlayStation exclusives are easily available from the menu. God of War, Infamous, Little Big Planet. Do you like racing? It's got that too. It's even got a whole segment devoted to various LEGO games. Role-playing games, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, and 9 are also available. Shooters, anything in the pick up and play, like Ghost of a Tale. Do you like fighting? There's beat 'em ups, like Mortal Kombat, Tekken 7, Power Rangers, Battlefield Grid. If that's not enough, you can alphabetize A through Z. I think it's laughable when people say that PlayStation Now doesn't have any games. Xbox's own services for streaming hovers right around 100 to 150 games. PlayStation Now hovers around 8 to 850. It ranges from PS2 era, PS3, and PS4. What the future may hold, nobody knows. I'll cover a little bit more on that later. I'll just keep scrolling. That way you can see some of the games that are available. Play at your heart's content. Is it Uncharted? Is it Street Fighter? It's a world of possibility at your fingertips. Continuing our look back at 2021, we're going to look at the PS5 accessories. Every PS5 comes standard with the white DualSense controller. Midway through 2021, Sony released Magna Red and Midnight Black controllers. And later this year, actually this month in January, you're going to see the purple, blue, and pink variants released. The DualSense controller is a brand new controller from Sony that features haptic feedback and dynamic trigger effects that have a way of transporting you to another world. The DualSense controller also has a built-in microphone brought over from the PS4, as well as the Create button, and it integrates it into a very, very comfortable design. I think it's the best controller PlayStation has ever released. If you want to complete the look with the controller, later this month, you'll be able to buy faceplates to match your controller, if you don't like the standard white. While we're on the topic of controllers, you might want to pick up a DualSense charging station. I personally love them, after my experience with the PS4 charging ports becoming worn out due to the micro USB. Probably not so much of a problem with USB-C, but at the least, it keeps your controllers out of the way from people walking in front and pulling them out of the C charger. Another accessory that I have that I fantastically love is the Pulse 3D wireless headset. Again, this last year, they released it into Midnight Black. It comes standard in white. The 3D audio for PS5 with noise canceling microphones is fantastic. You have to experience it. That paired with the controller is what makes it super next gen. In addition to ray tracing, of course. I did not pick up the media remote. I did have one for PS4. I didn't use it very often for that. However, I see the allure to it because it does have a Disney Plus button, a Netflix button, Spotify button, YouTube button, as well as a PlayStation Home button. If you do most of your streaming on your console, it's probably a good buy. If you're like me and you do it on your smart TV, it's probably best left on the shelf. HD camera, I haven't used a lot of it. When I get more into the streaming, I'll probably use their HD camera to do that, just for simplicity. It will give you full HD capture, which the PS4 one did not. It gave you 720p at best. If you find yourself still playing VR titles, you can click the link on the PS5 website that I have here, which is really easily accessible there, to get your camera adapter, and it will set up your PSVR with your PS5 console, and then you can use your PS4 camera and a PS camera adapter. No purchase necessary. If they are out of product, I don't know, but I have one. I requested it. It didn't take very long to get. So that is a look at the peripherals available for PlayStation 5. Alright, we're on to the portion where I talk about the games I played during 2021. Now, some of these I'm going to skip over out of my game library on PlayStation.com. Mainly because I either didn't play it very long during the year, or it actually wasn't played by me. I have other folks in my house who, from time to time, hop on my profile and will play some games. So the first game I really sunk some time into in 2021 was Bugsnax. If you remember back, Bugsnax was actually released in late 2020 as part of a launch title, or launch window title to be more specific, for the PlayStation 5. It's kind of one of those cutesy platforming, collect-a-thon type games. Harkens you back to the old PlayStation 1 or 2 eras. Maybe kind of has some similarity with monster catching to Pokemon that people like from Nintendo, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is it gonna ever rank in my top 10 of games? No, but it's a top game I played from 2021. To say I wasn't enjoying my time with the game would be false. I fantastically loved that game. For some of its weird quirks and charms. There's some things I would leave out of the game, but I would get into that in a more thorough, deeper review. Demon's Souls, I've had an on and off again relationship with that game. I'm going to have to spend some time with that game, with a guide, with some YouTube help, to get through it. And some of you might be like, well, wait, you beat Returnal. It's just Demon's Souls is a different challenge, and I've got to get in the right mindset. One of the biggest games I beat during the year and spent a lot of time with was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I actually spent probably close to a month straight with this game, and I'm a pretty big fan of the Assassin's Creed series, and I've played every game. The only one I really haven't beat was Assassin's Creed 4. I actually kind of rage quitted as I got caught in the middle in a very bad spot where I couldn't get out of a naval battle, and I kept dying in an endless loop, and I refused to restart the game. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey was fantastic. It's one of the best games I've played out of that series, and I look forward to later on in this year getting to its successor, doing some Viking stuff. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I mentioned before that I had played. I found this trilogy of Tomb Raider series to be great. I love that games are starting to showcase strong female protagonists, so it ranked very high. I liked the story. I thought it was a good payoff in the story for Lara Croft. Returnal is one of my top games of the year. I rank it number 2. I'll tell you what my number 1 is coming up here, but just from a graphical standpoint, the speed of the gaming, how it took procedurally generated scapes and mixed them together with a very good story that had you riveting for quite the time, and especially once you figure out kind of the real ending, right? Because there's the ending, and then there's the real ending at the bottom of the ocean. That's all I'll say about it. I don't want to ruin it. Really good game. I enjoyed my time. That fast-paced, twitchy shooter action, I'm usually not a super fan of, but Returnal did it right. Horizon Zero Dawn. I went back into this game to finish the Frozen Wilds expansion. I had played Horizon Zero Dawn when it released way back when. Seems forever ago on PS4. But I wanted to finish Frozen Wilds before, and I'll get into this later, but before Forbidden West comes out. So I committed myself to playing the expansion, and it was very good for expansions. I'm not big on DLC, so it kept me there, and it actually added to some of the story and the background, and it was a great reminder of what had happened in the story before. My favorite game of the year, Kena, Bridge of Spirits. I played the heck out of this game for a very, very short time because I just got so immersed in it and wanted to beat it, and probably when I get back I'm gonna look at trying to platinum this thing. It harkens me back to the PS2 collectathon era. Just that color, that whimsy, it hit all the nostalgic notes for me. Little Nightmares. I actually played this one more at the bequest of my daughter. She goes, I've watched some Let's Plays on this. So she goaded me into playing that one. It takes a lot to frighten me, so frights weren't really there, but it had a pretty good story. I'll give it that. It wasn't super scary for me. After that, I played some Blood Bowl 2 on PlayStation Now, which I highlighted earlier in the video. And then through the year, I played some Fortnite. I've got some younger boys that are my own children, and they really enjoy the Fortnite, so I play with them a lot. And that was my gaming year in 2021. Alright, we're to the part a lot of people have been looking forward to. The look ahead to 2022's upcoming games. Before I start, if you have a PS5, you need to make sure you get yourself an SSD. It only takes about 15 minutes to install, and it's going to upgrade your storage. You're going to need it for these games coming up. Horizon Forbidden West releases February 18th. It continues Aloy's story. You don't want to miss it. Gran Turismo 7. I've been looking to this one for quite some time. I haven't played Gran Turismo in quite a few years, and I look forward to getting back to it March 4th. Now, if you're in the Epic Games realm, and you like games from that series, shooters particularly, you're probably going to like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It releases March 25th. On a date to be confirmed later on this year, though, in 2022, you can continue Atreus and Kratos' story in God of War Ragnarok. Other games coming this year to PS5. Forspoken, Oxenfree 2, Sifu, Gotham Knights. One that harkens me back to the PS2 era is Little Devil Inside. I've recently gotten excited for Elden Ring. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction is coming. Grand Theft Auto 5 is re-releasing on next-gen consoles. One that I'm personally excited for, Ghostwire Tokyo. I've been tracking Babylon's Fall for the last few years. It'll be interesting to see what it turns out to. I'm a little bit interested in Stray. I want to see what this crazy cat amongst all the robots is going to do. And then Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. You can't beat a great Final Fantasy story. Other great games available now? And the biggest series out there, you've got Horizon, Uncharted, which is coming out with their remastered edition, God of War, Resident Evil, and so on. Looking ahead to peripherals, I mentioned before the DualSense controller. I'm really looking forward to the blue and purple. With that said, this has been your introduction to games done easy with Chuck.